The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Today is Thursday, March 9th, 2023. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, the Republican House Committee had a hearing on the so-called Twitter files. They interviewed journalist Matt Taibbi, who objected to being referred to as a so-called journalist because of the nature of this particular endeavor that he has ventured out into, becoming what one Democrat called the personal scribe of Elon Musk. It was at this hearing that many clips have come out that really show you the political games that are being played. The entire purpose of this hearing with Matt Taibbi about the Twitter files is to give some credence to the conservative argument that Twitter was somehow weaponized against conservative voices. Now, anyone who has spent time online, period, understands that research has shown that the algorithm, whether it be the algorithm for YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, always routinely promoted the voices of the right. And so this is another contrived grievance from white Christian nationalists who are trying to weaponize the federal government to do exactly what they are accusing the Democrats of doing, alleging that they somehow applied the Biden administration. This is the allegation that the Biden administration somehow weaponized its power against Twitter to suppress voices of conservative media. Their example, of course, as if any of you have been paying attention to the Twitter files, their core example is the fact that leaked nude pictures of Joe Biden's son were released on Twitter, and the campaign at the time, this is a key component, at the time of all of this that has been released, the Twitter files, the entire thing around the campaign of Joe Biden requesting that those pictures be taken down because, one, it was, analogous to revenge porn. It was posting a naked picture of the candidate for president at the time on Twitter. The key thing here is that this was, in effect, revenge porn being weaponized by conservatives to attack a political rival who was a candidate for president at the time, not president of the United States. But that particular detail doesn't really matter to Matt Taibbi or Elon Musk or anyone else who's pushing these so-called Twitter files. Now, I have more clips than I probably can even get to today. And I want to thank Aaron Rupert. If you don't follow him on Twitter, he is a godsend to the entirety of everyone who does media. He gets these clips and he chops them up, and just about everyone in media uses these clips. And there are so many clips today that I just cannot do this episode without giving him a shout out. So please go follow and support Aaron Rupert on Twitter. He is the one who scours these hours of content and provides it to all of us who follow him on Twitter. That said, there are a lot of clips, and there are a few heated exchanges between Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio, who has been mired in the Ohio State wrestling sexual assault scandal, and the Democrats, the ranking Democrats on the committee, who took time to expose. They used their time to expose the fact that Matt Taibbi, who was at one time a respected journalist, has decided to take this opportunity with Elon Musk to become his personal scribe and to forward the political agenda of Elon Musk, using Matt Taibbi's reputation as a journalist to give cover to what is essentially just a political hit job. The weaponization of Twitter and the weaponization of the Republican-controlled House of Representatives to try and gain political power to suppress, right? Here's the countervailing force to everything that's happening with Twitter files. With the purchase of Twitter by
Elon Musk. He has gone in with the erroneous conclusion that Twitter somehow hurt right-wing voices. And he's using Matt Taibbi and the Twitter files to justify that. The response is ultimately what was the goal all along. The reaction to, again, I want you to juxtapose this before I even finish that sentence. I know you probably get tired of me interrupting sentences in mid-thought, but there's just so much here. I need you to juxtapose what is happening right now with this committee, with Twitter files, with Elon Musk, and the reaction. What are they doing with this reaction to a false accusation? The false accusation is that Twitter was weaponized by the Democrats in order to suppress conservative voices. That was never happening. But they got critical mass. They have critical mass, and they have the ability to get political action, real tangible results based on a boogeyman that does not exist. This mirrors every other story that we've covered this week. It is the same play by Republicans. They know the power and the efficacy of creating a boogeyman and then getting all of their echo chamber to repeat that lie over and over again. Twitter files is bogus. It is a trash heap of lies forwarded by someone with a fairly reputable reputation, burning it all on the altar of getting close to Elon Musk, Matt Taibbi. But what did they get out of it? They have a full hearing in front of the United States Congress to forward this idea that conservatives are the voices that are being throttled and shadow banned and restricted on Twitter. And in reaction to that, what did they get? Well, they got Elon Musk to purchase Twitter. And the immediate result was the amplification of conservative voices far above and beyond their natural reach. Elon Musk personally made that happen by going to become a reply guy. He replies to every single conservative voice that is out there doing actual tangible harm. Like he responds to N. Miles Chong, the non-American so-called journalist who spends his entire time in Malaysia interfering with what's happening in the United States of America from the furthest right-wing perspective possible. That's who Elon Musk gets into the reply section of to amplify. So not only is it an algorithmic amplification that is going on as a result of this bogus, fake, erroneous, false aggrieved idea that conservatives have been throttled and silenced on social media, on Twitter in particular. They took that false idea, got critical mass, got Twitter, and now they are amplifying and ramming conservative voices down the throats of everyone who is within 10 miles of a Twitter account. That's what happened. So I want you to see this as I get ready to play some of these clips. And again, thanks to Aaron Rupar. I honestly, today is an especially important day to thank that brother, because there are so many clips that really should be heard, and I'm going to play them all.
But this is what's going on today in the House Judiciary Committee, headed up by Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio. And when we get back, we'll start breaking it down one at a time. First up is a clip of Representative Stacey Plaskett. She is a delegate from the United States Virgin Islands, and she really encapsulated the truth about the entire purpose of this hearing, as well as the role that journalist Matt Taibbi played in Elon Musk's overall plot.
3 weeks ago, House Oversight had this hearing with actual Twitter executives who had actual firsthand knowledge about what happened in 2020. And that didn't go so well for the House Republicans, because real evidence showed that there wasn't coordination between Twitter and the federal government, as they'd like the American people to believe, and that all the so-called Twitter files really showed was a discussion on content moderation, and that we only got a fraction of the discussion. So now we're back again, no surprise. What else have they got to talk about? Not what's interested in the American people are interested, not what taxpayer dollars have brought us here to Washington to do. And the Republicans have brought in 2 of Elon Musk's public scribes to release cherry-picked, out-of-context emails and screenshots designed to promote his chosen narrative, Elon Musk's chosen narrative, that is now being parroted by the Republicans because the Republicans think that these witnesses will tell a story that's going to help them out politically.
Period. That's the purpose of the hearing today. That's the purpose of the Twitter files. There is a large amount, a huge amount of solidarity between the conservatives that make up this very diverse. And when I say diverse, I don't mean racially diverse. I mean they're motivationally diverse. They have different motives. Elon Musk, obviously, his motive is to try to recoup his $44 billion that he really didn't want to spend in the first place. He just ran his mouth and got himself into trouble. And then the second motive of Elon Musk is that he genuinely is a right-wing conservative seeking to forward a more entrenched Western chauvinist paradigm on the global stage. That is who Elon Musk is. And that falls perfectly in line with what the Republicans in this country want to do. So they are attempting to use all of this to forward their political agenda, full stop. Here's more from Stacey Plaskett.
Mr. Chairman, Americans can see through this. Musk is helping you out politically, and you're going out of your way to promote and protect him and to praise him for his work. This isn't just a matter of what data was given to these so-called journalists before us now. There are many legitimate questions about where Musk got the financing to buy Twitter. We know for a fact that foreign countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and possibly even Russia and China are investors presently in Twitter. Do these countries now have access to private Twitter user data? What agreements has Elon Musk reached with them?
You know, when you consider, I don't have any evidence to what she's speaking of in terms of China and Russia, the possibility. Sure, there's a possibility. But when you consider the fact that Saudi Arabia, they're one of the leading investors in Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, it makes their next murder of journalists like Jamal Khashoggi easier because they will have access. Don't think for a second that Saudi Arabia made that kind of investment and did not get access to that user data and are not going to use that access to user data to wield it against their rivals domestically and foreign. Let's just be real. Jim Jordan didn't take lightly to Plaskett's categorization of the hearing or the categorization of the FTC allegations against Twitter, and especially didn't take lightly to the fact that she referred to Matt Taibbi and the other witness as being there to help the Republican agenda. Here's his clip.
So the opportunity to review the FTC letters. You have not come over to review those letters. Third, the idea that I believe both of these individuals who are getting ready to testify, I believe they're both Democrats. The idea that 2 journalists who happen to be Democrats.
Did you not give that offer at 8 o'clock last night?
I'm talking now. Your time was ended a few
neither
seconds
of us
ago.
are in time.
I don't think they're here to help us politically. I think they're here to tell us the truth. And
by the way, she's absolutely right. The chairman, Jim Jordan, was speaking out of his time, and so that's why she interrupted him. I bring that up because that exchange quickly led to an all-out shouting. Well, not as far as politicians go. This is a shouting match.
Frankly, I think they're brave individuals for being willing to come after they've been named in a letter from the Biden FTC.
Is this your question time now?
No, I'm responding to your ridiculous statements you made in your opening statement.
Okay, well, let's get on with it.
Oh, now we want to get on with it. So you can say all the things you want. And I
did in my opening statement, as well as you had an opening statement. You said what you needed to say in your opening statement, and I, as the ranking member, have used my time.
Without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record. We will introduce today's witness, Matt Taibbi.
And then Matt Taibbi proceeds to come on with his statement. I want to play this clip of him responding to a question from another Republican member of this House Judiciary Committee that was, I think it will perfectly demonstrate exactly why Matt Taibbi was chosen to leverage his reputation in the amplification of the so-called Twitter files. Listen in.
Let me start with Mr. Taibbi. You have a long, award-winning journalist career. You just highlighted here decades of experience reporting on some of the most complex and important issues of our time. Where do you rate your reporting on the Twitter files among your whole body of work throughout your career? How serious is this?
Well, first of all, Mr. Congressman, thank you for the question. I would say, I spent 10 years covering the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. That was obviously a very serious issue, but this Twitter file story and what we're looking at now and what we're investigating now, I don't think there's any comparison. This is by far the most serious thing that I've ever looked at, and it's certainly the most grave story that I've ever worked on personally.
I mean, wow, you would think that perhaps there was a dead journalist involved. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's involved in the purchase of Twitter. You would think that there was actually something significant here such that this man, Matt Taibbi, would go in front of the House of Representatives and say that this is the most important thing that he's ever covered. I mean, other actual journalists would disagree. And don't get me wrong, Matt Taibbi is a journalist, but with this particular stunt, he has pawned off all of his credibility in order to get close to Elon Musk. The Huffington Post says that even right-wingers think that Elon Musk, Hunter Biden reveal is a nothing burger. And that's the basis of the Twitter files. The entirety of the Twitter files is about the so-called suppression that came from the campaign of the Bidens. But in the conversation, of course, watching every conversation, conservatives are selling this as if it was the Biden administration using the force of government to crack down on Twitter, when it really was the Biden campaign requesting that Twitter would take down the images. Here's a passage from Huffington Post. Elon Musk tease concerning a massive reveal about Hunter Biden, his infamous laptop, and Twitter quote unquote suppression flopped big time Friday, even with right wingers who were supposed to swoon over the information. Quote, so far, I am deeply underwhelmed, tweeted right-wing radio host Sebastian Gorka, who served in the Trump administration. We know the Dems in D.C. collude with the Dems in Palo Alto. Big whoop, whoop, he added. Gorka said that he was hoping for a string of felonies to be bared, but that didn't happen. He noted after journalist Matt Taibbi released a lengthy Twitter thread detailing Musk touted findings. The Washington Post analysis, Elon Musk's Twitter files are an exercise in hypocrisy. Let's go to Politico. Why the Twitter files are falling flat. These are just the headlines. You can look up the articles and read them for yourself. There's a consensus amongst actual journalists that there is no there, that a campaign requesting that revenge porn be removed from Twitter is not the government trying to suppress conservative speech. We'll cover more after this patron party.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and get twice the content and unfiltered interviews without any of the commercial interruptions.
And here we go. Very special welcome to our newest patron. Everyone give a special welcome to Brandy Red. Thank you so much for becoming a patron. This entire patron party is for you. Oh. Yep. I know you're bopping your head. You better be bopping your head in your car, wherever you're listening. You too can become a part of this prestigious and prodigious patron family by going to patreon.com/The BPD Show, where you get twice the content, none of the commercial interruptions, and you get access to our bi-weekly patron party. We have one coming up this Friday night, if I'm not mistaken. Patreon.com/The BPD Show. And we'll be back right after this break.
Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Show. Visit us online at thebenjamindixonshow.com.
Yep. Welcome back. If you want to know how long I've been doing politics, I've actually been doing it long enough to actually make a statement like this. I have been doing politics long enough to recall this next voice that you'll hear, Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I've really absolutely love this clip, but I've been in politics long enough to remember how much of a problem that Democrat from South Florida actually is. But that's not what today's episode is about. You just know me. I have to keep it 100. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a person who threatened to accuse Barack Obama of anti-Semitism if he was going to remove her as chair of the DNC all the way back in the early 2008, 2009 administration of Barack Obama. That said, what she says here is absolutely spot on as it pertains to questions of journalistic integrity. Listen in.
Journalists should avoid accepting spoon-fed, cherry-picked information if it's likely to be slanted, incomplete, or designed to reach a foregone, easily disputed, or invalid conclusion. Would you agree with that?
I think it depends.
Really? You wouldn't agree that a journalist should avoid spoon-fed, cherry-picked information if it's likely to be slanted, incomplete, or designed to reach a foregone, easily disputed, or invalid conclusion?
Congresswoman, I've done probably a dozen stories involving whistleblowers. Every reported story that I've ever done across 3 decades involves sources who have motives. Every time you do a story, you're making a balancing test between the public interest.
Reclaiming my time. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I ask you this because before you became Elon Musk's hand-picked journalist, and pardon the oxymoron, you stated this on Joe Rogan's podcast about being spoon-fed information, and I quote, "I think that's true of any kind of journalism," and you'll see it behind me here. "I think that's true of any kind of journalism. Once you start getting handed things, then you've lost. They have you at that point, and you got to get out of that habit. You just can't cross that line." Do you still believe what you told Mr. Rogan? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. Now, you crossed that line with the Twitter files.
No.
Elon Musk, it's my time. Please do not interrupt me. Elon Musk spoon-fed you his cherry-picked information, which you must have suspected promotes a slanted viewpoint, or at the very least generates another right-wing conspiracy theory. You violated your own standard, and you appear to have benefited from it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, notwithstanding everything I introduced Debbie Wasserman Schultz with, she's absolutely right here. This is what Matt Taibbi has sold his journalistic soul for: access to Elon Musk and whatever reward he received from Elon Musk, including all of the notoriety. The fact that he's testifying before Congress in and of itself is a reward for his due diligence, regurgitating the information that was handed to him from Elon Musk. Now, here's a couple of other exchanges where he's trying to deny that Elon Musk is his source. This is the disingenuousness of conservatism. Matt Taibbi is getting ready to go on a couple of exchanges with Congress people, pushing back on the idea that Elon Musk is his source, and he's trying to use his label as a journalist to protect his so-called sources. The irony of it is that Elon Musk is himself the one who promoted Twitter files, who told us to look out for it, and here it comes, and here it's dropping, and oh my goodness, it's such a big deal, right? He was the lead promoter of the information. So whether or not he is the core source, I mean, it's an insult to our intelligence. Now, Matt Taibbi as a journalist doesn't have to reveal his sources. Obviously, that's perfectly fine. But, you know, let's not play this game as if there is some type of secret source at Twitter who gave you clandestine access to this information. It was Elon Musk trying to execute a political agenda, period. Here's a clip of Representative John Garamendi of California, who really kind of brings this home for us, because with the entire kabuki theater that is this hearing, period, that's been convened by Jim Jordan and the Republicans, the truth of the matter is that the evidence, the actual data shows that the Twitter algorithm has and along with other algorithms, have long benefited conservative thought.
We've heard a lot from our Republican colleagues claiming that somehow all of this interaction has led to Twitter censoring conservative voices. And I really want to look at what the evidence is that that has or has not happened. In 2020, Twitter commissioned an objective study to examine whether its algorithms disproportionately promotes conservative or liberal voices. This was a massive study by researchers from the University of Cambridge and Berkeley. The analysis examined millions of Twitter accounts and 6.2 million news articles that were shared within the United States. The study results were quite clear. Twitter's algorithms actually amplifies conservative voices far more than liberal voices. So whatever comes of this question about pressure from the federal government, at least up until 2020, it didn't have an effect. A separate study, this one from the Indiana University, found that partisan accounts, especially conservative accounts, tend to receive more followers and follow more automated accounts. So, Mr. Taibbi and Mr. Schallenberger, are you familiar with these studies?
I am.
Yes.
Very good. Then you know that whatever you may be trying to tell us, the effect on Twitter didn't happen.
No, I don't agree.
Excuse me, it's my time. Thank you.
Of course, they don't agree. They have received some type of reward, and he got paid for this. Taibbi knows he got paid. He was not going to listen, he doesn't believe in anything that much that he's going to put his life and reputation on the line without a check. They are being paid, or they were paid by Elon Musk in some form or fashion to spread this information. And so it's going to be hard. You know the saying, it's hard to get someone to believe something that they're paid not to believe. What's more, it's of course they're going to ignore this data because this is what side Matt Taibbi has fallen on. This is the side of Elon Musk. This is the era of alternative realities that allow people to believe what they want to believe. The actual evidence be damned. The literal evidence shows that the Twitter algorithm, amongst all the other algorithms, benefit conservative propaganda. It just simply has and does. We have a historical record of data that shows that, which contradicts everything that Matt Taibbi is trying to say with the Twitter files. He's trying to say that the federal government had a hand in suppressing conservative voices. His evidence? The Biden campaign requested that nude photos of Hunter Biden be removed from Twitter. The actual evidence, however, suggests that this suppression never occurred. It never occurred. It was a Twitter moderation question of whether or not nude images of a political campaign's child, it doesn't matter who, right? You know, if someone has nude images leaked of them on social media, anyone should be able to request that that be taken down. But Matt Taibbi has a problem because he has invested his entire life and his entire brand into this false narrative. He is the tip of the spear for Elon Musk and Twitter, who is serving the role of creating Twitter and Elon Musk. They are serving the role of creating this hermetically sealed echo chamber on Twitter specifically. Never mind the fact that conservatives have always had an echo chamber that it was almost impenetrable. No one can get a bit of reason or logic into the conversation of conservatives in this country because of the likes of Fox News. Never mind that outstanding benefit that is given to white conservatives in this country every single day. Twitter had to be brought into that fold. And that's what Elon Musk did. And if that wasn't enough, he went one step further to try to make it seem as though to justify what he was doing. What Elon Musk is doing right now is over amplifying conservative voices. Why? In reaction to the false claims that the federal government underneath the Biden administration, who wasn't even in power at the time, they were a campaign, has been suppressing conservative voices. That's what I was talking about yesterday when I say critical mass, when you could take a boogeyman and convince enough people to go along with it to get actual tangible results. Patrons, stay tuned. Everyone else, I'll see you tomorrow.